IKUZO. Obviously, you wrote the whole history and the real history book on Waterloo, and obviously Sharpe is about Napoleonic Wars. So I have to ask, did you watch the Napoleon from Ridley Scott?
I did.
What did you think of it?
Not much. I mean, I can forgive him a lot because making a film of Napoleon is like writing an historical novel about Napoleon. And the history must be authentic. It doesn't mean to say it must be exact. I mean, I can understand him starting the movie with the execution of Marie Antoinette. And Napoleon was nowhere near that. I mean, he was 700 miles away. But I might have done the same thing, just to set and establish a scene in the horror that was going on. Why not let him witness it? And thank goodness he doesn't take any part in it, but that's fair enough. On other matters, I mean, to reduce the Battle of Austerlitz to the artillery bombardment of the Shacham Lakes and come off it, even Napoleon drained the lakes after he won the battle and found, I think, 2 horses and 1 man. That was it. And over the last 50 years, they've done surveys of the lakes and haven't found any cannonballs at all. I mean, Austerlitz was a much greater achievement than just breaking the ice. There were so many things. I mean, I began to lose faith in it in the first 10 minutes of the siege of Toulon, when they confused howitzers and mortars. And I thought there must be an historical advisor on this film who knows what a howitzer looks like and what a mortar looks like. He just fell asleep that day. Or having Napoleon lead a cavalry charge at Waterloo. It didn't happen. Now, okay, you can say I'm just nitpicking, and if I'd written the book, I might have had Napoleon leading a cavalry charge too, if only to kill the bugger. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I thought some of the visuals were extraordinary and wonderful, but the story, there never was a story unless it was a story of him and Josephine. I think a much more interesting story, and one I think which both Napoleon and Wellington would have recognized, is that by 1815 there were 2 leading soldiers in Europe, and they'd never met in battle. I mean, that's the climax. It's the Wimbledon final between 2 great players who never ever faced each other. And that was sort of lost, completely lost. As was all of Napoleon's enormous achievements. I mean, you think of the legal codes he wrote, the reorganization of France's administration. I mean, it was when he got to Malta, which he captured from the Knights of Malta, I think in 6 days he rewrote their legal code, their education system, and gave them a new constitution. In 6 days. It was extraordinary. He was an amazing man. And I never got the impression in the film that he was a genius, which I think he was. Andrew Roberts wrote that superb biography of Napoleon, and he called it Napoleon the Great. And I think he was basically cocking a snoop at his British readership, because we never think of Napoleon as great, but he was. I think that title is utterly justified. He was a great man. Whereas in the film, he comes across as a frustrated lover who happens to fight battles on the side. There you go, a waste. A pity.
We stay genuine, uncensored and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us, subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. IKUZO!